So then let's talk about manipulating the food. So when you're manipulating the food, the two big ones you're going to be using are spatula or the good old tongs. Now with these, again, the longer the handles, the better, because it keeps your hands further away from the heat, especially if you're cooking on something really hot. And also you want them to be metal so they won't melt on the grill. And if you're going to be cooking fish, you may want to get a special kind of spatula called a fish spatula or a fish turner or flipper. Basically, it's got a really long head, if you will, that actually scoops underneath, and the edge of it's very sharp so it can get under that delicate fish and flip it without it all falling apart. Oh, one last thing about fish. You may also consider cooking on a cedar plank. This is really big with salmon, but I think you could do it with other types of fish as well. It gives another extra flavor aspect when you're grilling. This here is a heat-resistant glove. You can use it, especially if you're cooking on high heat, especially if you're going to be needing to grab some of these guys. It helps keep your hand safe and keep your hand from catching on fire. If you need to manipulate some coals or something, just another thing to keep your hand from getting burnt. And then as you're cooking the food, you're going to want to test to see if it's done. And so the best, most accurate way to do that is going to be with an instant read thermometer. This one here is analog, so it doesn't have a screen, but the nice thing is it shows you, okay, steak, medium rare, this is where the little arrow will point. So you can see quickly what temperature it's at and if it needs to keep cooking. I personally think digital is the way to go, and I also think that it is something worth spending a little more on because you want to make sure that it works well and is accurate, and also it's fast. You don't want to be sitting there, especially if it's hot, waiting for it to go for 15 seconds and then you don't even know if it's the right temperature. So one other thing when you're manipulating your food, you may want to be basting some kind of sauce or glaze on it, typically towards the later end of cooking. So for that, you want a heat-resistant baster. And again, you want the longer one if possible, and there's some that are even angled to help keep your hands even further away. Whether you're going to be brushing on some barbecue sauce or some kind of glaze, something else you may want to consider. If you're cooking things to different levels of doneness, a popular one is if you're cooking a bunch of steaks, then some people may want rare, some people may want medium rare. So if that's the case, there are a couple of ways that you can help people know which one's theirs. Obviously you can just keep them separate, but if you want to have a little more fun with it, there are actually these little wooden things you can put in, kind of like toothpicks, and they'll say rare, medium rare, and you can get a bunch of those for like $5–10. Those things are cool and fun, especially if you have a big party. People can easily see which one they want. But another fun way is to get a brand. Now this one here just says R, which could be for read, but it could also be for rare. Basically, you just heat this guy up in the grill, get it nice and hot, and then when your food's done cooking, you press it down. It'll give it a nice black mark on it, just like they brand the cattle back in the day. And still probably today. Whoops, there's a dog. Okay, so let's take a look at the grill itself. So one thing that you're probably going to want is a grill light. Now this guy is lucky to have lights built right in, but you can also buy them as accessories, and you know, if you're cooking next to your porch and you have some good natural light, that can help. But you're going to want to be able to see what you're cooking so you can tell how done it is, and if you're trying to get that fancy crosshatch, you can make sure you get that all right. And also, a lot of grills have storage down below where you can keep your popular grilling tools that we talked about here, or they'll have hooks on the side where you can hang them. So that's about it for the grill. I hope that you get some of this equipment to get yourself set up and enjoy.